What's up?
Um, Good morning, everybody. My name is Jimmy, and today I'm going to present my chemistry portfolio. That our last lab that we did in chemistry was called identifying an unknown substance. Um, the name of my unknown substance was magnesium, and my partners were Byron and Ronaldo. And what we did in this lab was we were given an unknown substance, and we had to identify, and we have to observe its physical and chemical properties. And and in this project, I learned so many things. I learned so many skills about that, and in order to identify our unknown substance, we had to do 3 experiments on it. And the first experiment we did was to put HNO3 on our system to see if it reacted with reacted forming H2 gas. And the second experiment was to test if our unknown system was a good or bad conductor of electricity. In our third experiments, what we did was try to bore in to see if it reacted forming a bright white light. And this, what I learned in this project will really have a big impact in my future, because I'm interested in 2 careers. One career is to become a doctor, and another one is or either to become a doctor or be an accountant. And I learned what I learned in doing this lab was that we learned some skills that I learned were applying knowledge, analyzing data, making careful observations, and also thinking critically. And for evidence one, I have applying knowledge and making careful observations. And we had learned physicals and chemicals properties of the elements from the periodic table, which we had to, when we were given our unknown substance, we had to apply our knowledge to identify its physical properties. And then, in order to know its chemicals property, we have to apply our knowledge on chemicals properties but to know its its chemicals properties, we have to do 3 experiments. And this evidence shows that if I learn something, I will apply that in the future. And when we were doing the experiment, we had to do we have to make careful observations, because for example, when we're doing experiment number 1, when we have to put HNO3, we make observations to see if it reacted, if not, what happened with our substance. And also we were forced to make observations, because we had to write our data down. What were the trends that were happening with our substance. And this evidence shows that I was practicing my skills of making careful observation, which helped me to develop my skill better. And make careful observation and applying knowledge will really help me in my future because in order to become a doctor, I have to apply knowledge and I have to make good observation because I can't give medicine to my patients if I don't apply my knowledge or I don't make good observation to the symptoms. And then I learned two other skills which were thinking critically and analyzing data. And one example how I developed my skill of thinking critically was when I was doing experiments to test my substance chemical properties. I had to think critically to put the exact amount of of chemicals to my substance. Uh, Also, another time when I had to think critically, when I because remember we had to present about substance, and that time I had to think critically when people ask me questions. So I had to think critically so I can answer. I can give good answers, and this evidence shows us that we have to think critically before doing things because you can do things and don't think what will be the consequence. And this will really help me in my future because in order to be an accountant, to to so I'm gonna have um, businesses. I'm gonna be like working with numbers, and I'm gonna have like working with their money, and I can just say like, oh, you can spend this thing, you can spend this amount of money, but I don't think about the consequence. So I have to think critically and then tell them, okay, you can spend this amount of money, but you can't do this. And also what I learned in chemistry this semester will connect to other classes. I can apply these skills to other classes. Thinking critically and analyzing data, and in chemistry this semester, I can apply it to for math because in math like we see a lot of graphs and data numbers, so we have to analyze the numbers and analyze the graph, and this skill also can be applied in history because we were watching the immigration and all the stuff and when people came and everything. So when we can see that again, like if Ms. Marie give us another graph or things that we can analyze it. So, and also these skills will really be helpful for my future. This connects to my future career because applying knowledge and making careful observation skills will help me in the future to achieve my goals. And one of my biggest goals is to become a doctor. And in order to become a doctor, I have to apply knowledge and make careful observation. And in conclusion, chemistry is very helpful for our life. This unit will have a big impact because chemistry has helped me develop many skills. While doing the identifying and substance, I developed skills like thinking critically, make careful observations, analyze data, and apply knowledge. And I think what I have learned this semester in chemistry will be really helpful for me in the future. These skills are really essential for my careers and the careers I am interested in. And that was my presentation. So, any question?
Why do you want to be a doctor?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my dream since I was little. Because I've been sick and I have always been visiting doctors. And like,
In your daily life, what are some chemicals that you use frequently?
calcium. Yeah, calcium. Also oxygen and let's see, sodium. That's any other question?
What are some more uses for your system?
I'm sorry. What was that again?
What are some more uses for your system?
What words from
Real world uses for your system.
real?
For magnesium. What could magnesium be used for in the real world?
Oh, that's that's what that's like a metal, huh? So you can make wires for to electricity. So conduct electricity to you can have electricity in your house or something. Any other question?
I'll do them.
No.
You guys open.
What were the trends that you observed in your second experiment?
The times I observed my second experiment. Well, for my second experiment, what we did were trying to conduct electricity. So, but in the first trial, it didn't conduct electricity, but it was because of the wires, and we could easily confuse and thought that it wasn't a metal, but we did all two trials, and we got a new wires, and which when we try again, it conduct electricity, and then we did another trial to be even more sure, and it conduct electricity. That was my friend. Any other question?
I have a question. Okay, so to add on to James, you said that you use like sodium. What sort of things in the real world would have sodium in them?
Salt.
Okay, so like table salt is sodium chloride. And then what were the physical, so you talked about that you had to apply knowledge from past labs to find the physical and chemical properties of your substance. What were the chemical and physical properties of your substance?
My substance was tiny, was solid. It also was tiny, was ductile, malleable, and
So those are all physical properties. So chemical properties are like, what does it react with? So can you give an example of a chemical property of your substance?
the chemical
So what does it react with?
it reacts with HNO3, forming a H2 gas.
Thank you. I think those are all the questions that I have. So if you can take this reflection sheet and step outside in the hall, we will deliver it, and